Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition. 2021-22 MLB offseason predictions. I am going to go team by team and give out my prediction for each team. And then at the end, I'm going to do some miscellaneous stuff at the end. First up, I have the Atlanta Braves, and my bold prediction is sweet and simple, and that is that the team will re-sign Freddie Freeman. Sans rumors that he may be exploring some other options. He's the Braves. He's the face of the franchise. This would be just as shocking as it was when Albert Pujols left the Angels and Robinson Cano left the Yankees. Like, there's a bunch of them. You can just go on and on and on about franchise players, franchise stars, face of the franchises that leave teams and then go elsewhere. And I just don't see it happening with the team that just won the World Series. Although we did see Pujols walk away from the Cardinals after the Cardinals won the World Series back in 2011. Next up is the Arizona Diamondback. I have them trading away Kayla Marte. And the team that I think that will acquire him is a team in the National League the American League. And that is the Seattle Mariners. And let's see what I think they can get back for him. Julio Rodriguez, I think, is absolutely in play. I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches they have there down in Seattle. I think they're going to go for it because of how close they were this year. I think that Marte could be in the deal. So could Emerson Hancock. So I think the deal is going to be Marte for Julio Rodriguez, Marte, Emerson Hancock, and maybe like a Sam Carlson, or let's give them an MLB arm in Aaron Fletcher. That's going to be the trade. So Kayla Marte to the Mariners is a bold call for the Madison Miller Podcast. All right. The Baltimore Orioles. I think that that's a team that's still a little far away. And I think that they feel that John Means may not be in his peak of powers when they're good again. I could see teams trying for him. And there's a franchise that's not far from Baltimore that hasn't won in a while, haven't made the playoffs in a while, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies. And I think they acquire John Means from the Baltimore Orioles for Bryson Stott, Mick Abel, I could see potentially being in the deal. But I'm going to say, I think it's going to be a lot of high value for some of these teams, especially a team like the Phillies that are just dying to win. I could see them giving up Abel, Bryson Stott. They're not going to give up Andrew Painter. I think Hans Cross they're going to try to keep. And I could see maybe Logan O'Hoppe going to Baltimore in like a throw-in in the deal, or Jalen Ortiz. Let's go with Jalen Ortiz. And let's throw Adonis Medina in there. So the heart of the trade, John Means to the Phillies. Going back, Mick Abel, Bryson Stott, Jalen Ortiz, and Adonis Medina. The Boston Red Sox, I have them signing two big free agents, Robbie Wright and Raciel Iglesias. I just think that they feel like they were closer than they thought. So why not? Go for it. In a loaded AL East. The Chicago Cubs. Here's a good one, guys. The Chicago Cubs, we saw them blow it up at the trade deadline. They're going to continue to do so. I have them trading Kyle Hendricks and Wilson Contreras to the New York Yankees for Gary Sanchez, who I think that they will tender, Clark Schmidt, D.V. Garcia, Anthony Volpe, and we'll do a throw-in in the deal. Maybe like an Antonio Gomez or something, because they have a lot of depth at the catching position in their system. So the Yankees really going for it here. And Contreras is an upgrade over Sanchez, arguably both offensively and defensively. The Cubs are rebuilding. Take a chance on Sanchez. Take a chance on the pitchers. Volpe's a good price to get back in the trade. So why not? The Chicago White Sox. My prediction for them is that they'll sign Marcus Stroman. I think that Carlos Rodon goes elsewhere. You'll see later on. And they need a pitcher. So why not Marcus Stroman? The Cincinnati Reds will trade Luis Castillo to a team that came close this year and I think wants to continue to be great, and that's the Houston Astros. I think going back in the deal to Cincinnati would be catcher Corey Lee, righty Hunter Brown, Forrest Whitley, and a throw-in. Who's the throw-in in the deal? Let's go with... Let's go with a guy that's currently on their roster. Let's go with Jose Urquidy. Why not? And I won't be shocked if someone else is thrown in the deal too with Castillo. Like, who's the kid that went second overall, the shortstop, in the draft that year with the Reds? I know, Eugenio Suarez. I think they're going to keep him around. They won't trade Suarez. Or maybe they do trade Suarez. But I'm trying to think of the kid that they drafted a few years ago, and he kind of got overtaken by Jonathan India. Very promising player. Nick Senzel. He just could play anywhere, and I could see him being in that trade. So let's go Nick Senzel to Houston as well. So Nick Senzel and Luis Castillo for Corey Lee, Hunter Brown, Forrest Whitley, and Jose Urquidy. So that's another big trade. I'm going to say that the Cleveland Indians trade Jose Ramirez to the Miami Marlins for Jesus Luzardo, Max Meyer, Jose Solas, and Victor Mesa. The case there is that Cleveland continues to blow it up a little bit. Little by little. They traded Lindor last year. You'll be hearing Bieber rumors this year, but I think he stays put for the time being. And waiting for next year for somebody to get injured and like maybe the Yankees overpay in 2022 at the trade deadline for him or something like that. Or the Mets or somebody like that. And Ramirez is still in his prime. And I think the Marlins want to make a big splash. So there you have it. And Luzardo in the deal I kind of like for Cleveland, too. Just gives them more pitching assets. The Colorado Rockies, I have them signing Saya Suzuki from Hiroshima. I just think that that's a team that's rebuilding, and I think that they want to, keep it, getting some assets. The Detroit Tigers. They just signed Eduardo Rodriguez the other day. I'm going to say where I had Eduardo Rodriguez signing when that team comes up. And the pitcher that I have signing with the team that I have, or the pitcher that I had signing with the Tigers, I have now signing with the team that I thought was going to sign Eduardo Rodriguez. I'll give that away later. But I think they signed one more big free agent. I think the Tigers feel that their second half was no mirage. Their manager is A.J. Hinch. A.J. Hinch managed a certain shortstop that's on a free agent market. Don't you know that Carlos Correa guy? I think he's going to the Detroit Tigers. So there you have it for a fun, bold prediction right there. The Houston Astros. Speaking of the Astros, they've got to replace that offense somehow. I'm going to say that they signed Starling Marte away. So I think that Starling Marte would be a good addition. Sign him away from their division rivalries. And he'll be in the outfield, kind of. I feel like they were missing that key guy in the outfield after losing George Springer, and I think Marte is a good complement to Michael Brantley and some of the role players on that team. The Kansas City Royals, I have them signing Michael Conforto. It just feels like a Royals type of player. Him and I think Andrew Benintendi, I think would be a good duo in that outfield. I like those two a lot together on that team. The Los Angeles Angels, I have them signing Kevin Gausman, who I initially had going to the Tigers, who signed Eduardo Rodriguez, and Rodriguez I had signing with the Angels. Kevin Gausman, to me, feels like the guy that is going to be overpaid by the Angels. I think Artie Moreno is a guy that really wants to win. And I think that Gausman, it just feels like an angel to me. The Los Angeles Dodgers, I have them re-signing Max Scherzer as my bold prediction. I think there's going to be people that predict him going back to the Nats. There's going to have I feel like people are going to predict the Yankees or the Mets or the Blue Jays or the Red Sox or one of these teams that's going to win now. But I think the Dodgers are unhappy with losing to Atlanta, and I think they're going to try for one last kick at the can, so I think they bring back Scherzer on a 2-year deal or something. The Miami Marlins will sign World Series hero Eddie Rosario away from the Braves. I like Eddie Rosario. I think he's a fine player. I think he will complement that team that I think is trying to win. The Milwaukee Brewers. I think this is finally the offseason where they trade away Josh Hader. And there's a team out there that's been trying for win-now moves over the last 3 years that I think is willing to do so. That might lose a couple bullpen arms in free agency and such. And that team is the San Diego Padres. I think that bringing in Bob Melvin as their manager, I think they want to make some more splashes. And I think they're going to continue to go for it. And back in the deal, I can see C.J. Abrams. I mean, he has no playing spot. I mean, unless they want to play him at second base. But I feel like that Padres team's very stacked, so I think they can afford to lose him. Mackenzie Gore, I think, is also in that trade. And in two more pieces, I'm going to say Reggie Lawson, who's MLB ready. He's a pitcher. And Adrian Martinez. So they get the two blue chippers and then two throw-ins that are major league ready for arguably the best reliever in baseball over the last 4 years, which I think would be a great trade for San Diego. The Minnesota Twins will trade Josh Donaldson too. The Seattle Mariners, yes. I have the Mariners making yet another move, but I think that they won't pay as much. I think Starlin Aguilar's in the deal. I'll throw in Levi Stout in the deal. And one more. Let's go with Luis Bolivar. I think they will steal Josh Donaldson from the Twins because of his salary. And maybe the Twins pay some of it or whatnot. The New York Mets, I think, will land the guy that they probably should have got at the trade deadline last year. Former Cub and soon-to-be former San Francisco Giant, Kris Bryant. I think they sign him. They overpay him. He's going to get a monster contract, and he'll be playing in the outfield and in third base for the New York Metropolitans come 2022. And New York sports and Mets Twitter will go crazy. And I think New York sports and Yankees Twitter will go crazy for my bold prediction for them. I have them signing away World Series champion Corey Seager away from the Los Angeles Dodgers. They need a shortstop. They know that Gleyber Torres is a second baseman, not a shortstop. I think that Seager would be a tremendous fit for them. He's the type of player that I think that they like a DJ LeMahieu type, like Anthony Rizzo. I think Corey Seager is better than those two players I just listed. And he's a good defensive shortstop. I think it's just the perfect fit for the Yankees. So I have them signing Corey Seager. The Oakland Athletics will trade Sean Manaea to the New York Mets. And who do they get back? I think Brett Baty goes in the deal because I have them signing Kris Bryant, so that would make sense. I think that Matt Allen will go in the deal. And two more players. Josh Walker and Nick Meyer, the catcher. So again, Sean Manaea to the New York Mets for third baseman and outfielder Brett Baty. Righty Matt Allen. Catcher Nick Meyer, and I think I said righty Calvin Ziegler as the last piece in this deal. And I like that deal for both sides. And I think the Mets can use another co-ace type of pitcher to go with Jacob deGrom because I think they lose Marcus Stroman. And we'll see with Noah Syndergaard. The Philadelphia Phillies, I have them making yet another big splash. And that player that I have the Phillies bringing in is a free agent, Nicholas Castellanos. I think this is a perfect fit for Philly. They need an outfielder. McCutcheon's probably going to leave. I think that his bat would play well in that ballpark. And I think him, Bryce Harper, in that lineup together, I think would be really good. And Rhys Hoskins as well, and Gene Segura. I like that matchup with Castellanos going to Philadelphia. The Pittsburgh Pirates, I have them trading reliever Chris Stratton to the San Francisco Giants. If I'm not mistaken, Chris Stratton started his career with the Giants, and he did. He was there for 3 years. I think the Giants get him back, and they won't have to pay a big price. I think that Matt Milewski will be in the deal. I think that Manuel Mercedes will be in the deal, who's a righty, and I think Milewski, the lefty, will be in the deal, and one more pitcher in the deal, Blake Rivera, the righty. So three minor league pitchers for Chris Stratton, and I think that'd be a good deal for San Francisco because San Fran loses a lot of their bullpen arms. I think they're going to try again. And Pittsburgh will continue to get young assets. The St. Louis Cardinals the last couple years have made some big splashes via trade. They get Paul Goldschmidt from the Diamondbacks, and then they get Nolan Arenado from the Rockies. They lose in the wild card game. Low-key, middle infield has been not a strength for the Cardinals from an offensive standpoint. Maybe defensively, but not offensively. Sometimes defensively would be a little weak. But I think this player who played for a rival would just be a great match and fit their big splash emo that they've had the last couple of years, and that is Javier Baez. So I have Javier Baez going to the St. Louis Cardinals. The Padres, I have them signing Jorge Soler, World Series MVP hero from the Braves. They need an outfielder. They're going to lose Tommy Pham. And I think that Soler will just mash out of that ballpark. And I think he is somebody that can have success regardless of the ballpark. The San Francisco Giants will sign Marcus Simeon. I think that would be a good fit for San Fran. They need a second baseman. And he could play a little short as well, a versatile player. I think that San Fran wants another bat in their lineup, and I think Simeon would be a good fit in San Francisco. So I think that's where he goes. The Seattle Mariners will sign John Gray. John Gray's a free agent, and I think ultimately he would want to go to a bigger ballpark. And I think Seattle will be a really good fit. A good risk for a team that's trying to win. Tampa Bay, I have them making a absolute monster trade. And I think that they want to upgrade at the certain position, which they've platooned at the last few years. And I think it's time for them to cash in all their chips. Their big rival in the AL East, the New York Yankees, I think is going to go after this player. But I think the Rays have better assets to go out and get this player, and that is Matt Olson of the Oakland Athletics. I have the Rays getting Matt Olson. In the deal back, I think they're going to get a lot back. I think Brendan McKay is going to be in the deal. He could pitch and hit. I think that Vidal Brujan will also be in the deal as a headliner. I think also Cole Wilcox will be in the deal. So that's 3. And then the throw-in in this deal, I think is going to be Brett Honeywell. I love this deal for both sides. I think Gilberto Hernandez can be in this trade as well, but I'm going to say not. I'm going to say that Brendan McKay, Vidal Brujan, Cole Wilcox, Brett Honeywell to Oakland for Matt Olson. And Matt Olson in that Rays lineup would just be amazing. The Texas Rangers will sign Trevor Story. I think that that's just a good match. And I think he can rank in that ballpark. The Blue Jays, I have them signing Carlos Rodon away from the White Sox. I think they lose Robbie Ray. And they got to replace him somehow. And I think that Rodon would be a good fit in the Blue Jays rotation. I don't know if he'll repeat his success, but I could see the Blue Jays buying into it. And giving a chance with Rodon. And the Washington Nationals, my bold prediction for them is that they trade away Josh Bell to the Kansas City Royals for Nick Pratto. Let's see who else I could send in this deal. Angel Zepra, Austin Cox, and I think that's it. I think that'd be, I think 3 prospects is enough for Josh Bell. So, Nick Pratto is the headliner, the first baseman. Austin Cox, a lefty, and Angel Zerpa, another lefty. So, 2 lefties and Nick Pratto for Josh Bell. Some miscellaneous stuff. I have Noah Syndergaard going back to the New York Mets. I I just think that he goes back there on a 1-year deal, on a prove-it deal or whatever. I have Kyle Schwarber going back to the Red Sox. I have Justin Verlander going back to Houston. Chris Taylor and Clayton Kershaw going back to the Dodgers. Nelson Cruz back to Tampa Bay. Some other guys that I think could potentially be on the move that I didn't predict in this podcast. I called for a John Means trade, which is pretty ballsy. If I'm the Orioles, I would trade Cedric Mullins, or at least to look to explore, only because I feel that he might have been a 1-year wonder. The Rays, I have them making a big splash for Olsen. I have them bringing back Nelson Cruz. They already traded Mike Brousseau. I was going to put Shane McClanahan in that projected Matt Olson deal, but I like the idea of Brendan McKay headlining it instead. Because McKay can play first and can pitch. So I could see like the two-way talent going in that deal for Olsen. The Yankees, I think, are a team arguably under the most pressure in the whole offseason. It's them and their crosstown rival Mets. And under the most pressure, in my opinion, the two New York teams, the Yankees and the Mets, will start with the Yankees. I think they need somebody better than Luke Voit at first base. I think they're going to bring back Anthony Rizzo. I like the fit of Anthony Rizzo in New York. Lefty bat, good defense, just bolds well with the Yankees to me, like the lefty first baseman. And Rizzo isn't the same guy as he was with the Cubs, but he's still a productive baseball player. And that's the bottom line. And I think it'll be on like a 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal, which wouldn't be outrageous. I think they can use another pitcher. I love Kyle Hendricks for them as like a number 2 behind Garrett Cole. And I have them doing the Hendricks and Contreras combo. And I'm sending back a couple pitchers and Gary Sanchez to the Cubs. So we'll see if that something like that happens or not. And then they have a huge infield issue. And Gio Urshela is somebody I think could be had in a trade. And I won't be shocked if Gio's in that Cubs trade. Like, they need a third baseman, right? So, you know what? I'm going to throw Gio in that Cubs trade as well. So, I think that both teams do really well in that deal. And then they could just flip Gio again for something else down the road, the Cubs. The Red Sox, I think, are under pressure to make some moves as well after going to the ALCS. And I think that the pressure comes from their media and fan base. So that's why I have them making some big moves. And then the Blue Jays, I think, are under a lot of pressure to do something big too. Because that's probably was the best team in the American League East last year, but they just didn't make the playoffs. The Rays lost some pieces down the stretch and lost to the Red Sox in the first round. The Red Sox got by the Yankees in the wild card game. That division's just a dogfight. And I think every team is under pressure in that division to do something big, including even the Orioles, as I alluded to. Tigers, I think, are in for another big splash after signing Eduardo Rodriguez. I predicted Correa. The Royals, I have them signing Michael Conforto. I could see them packaging some young pitchers together for a trade. White Sox, I think, need a rotation piece. Maybe a bullpen arm would be nice as well. Twins, I think, are get a potential blow it up with the veterans, but keep some of the young guys around like Byron Buxton and stuff like that. And the Indians, I have them trading Ramirez. I think Bieber stays, although you'll be hearing Bieber rumors. Quickly, AL West, Astros, I have them losing Correa. I can see them acquiring a shortstop. Maybe that's the team that gets Giovanni Urshela. You know what? Yeah, I could see them getting Urshela, even though I just threw him in that Cubs deal. But you know what? I'm going to say they signed Andrelton Simmons as like a veteran defensive first shortstop type of thing for them. Rangers, I have them signing Trevor Story. Maybe they get an outfielder too. Angels are under pressure to sign a pitcher. Mariners, I think, are in for some big win now moves after nearly making the playoffs a year ago. Mets, I think, are under the most pressure in the National League to do something big. I think they signed Chris Bryant, as I mentioned earlier. Phillies, I think, will make a couple big splashes, as I alluded to. The Nationals, I think, will continue to dump some veterans. I think that the Marlins are going to make some splashes. I think Atlanta will stay the course, and they really don't have to do anything major. They just won the World Series, and they're getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back. And they obviously have to re-sign Freddie Freeman, or else their offseason's a failure. Cubs, I think, will continue to blow it up. I already predicted that big trade for them with Contreras and Hendricks. Cardinals, I predicted a big move for them with signing Javier Baez. I also have the Brewers trading away Josh Hader. The Reds, I think, may blow it up potentially. I have them trading Luis Castillo. And the Pirates, I think, will not do anything. And then same with the Rockies, although I do have them bringing in the kid from Hiroshima. The Dodgers, I think, will run it back. San Francisco, I think, may make a couple trades and may lose a couple players in free agency. I think the Padres will continue to make some splashes. And I think the Diamondbacks might have a big move in them from a seller standpoint in Kayla Marte, as I mentioned earlier. All right, so there you have it, 2021-22 Major League Baseball offseason predictions. I'll look back on this show probably come March to see how I do. Have a great evening, everyone.